Today is April 14th, 2021. The time is 5:30. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education special meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Board members, as I call your name, please reply by saying present for the public record. Vice President Perry?
Present.
Secretary Green is not here. I don't think she's going to be here today. Treasurer McIntyre?
Present.
Assistant.
Present.
Okay. Board Trustee Walker?
Present.
Board Trustee Wright? Okay. And myself, I'm present. Board members absent are Secretary Green and Trustee Wright.
And she's supposed to be coming in, just to let you know.
She
Okay.
just logged in, actually.
Oh, okay, good. Ms. Wright, you there? Okay. Well, board members.
Yes, I'm here. Right,
Okay.
present.
Okay, board members absent then we have is Ms. Green. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. The public is reminded that you may raise your hand to speak. If you have submitted a comment in the chat section, please advise if you wish to speak. Also, anyone who sent an email prior to today's meeting will have that read. Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education bylaws 1370 are not obligated to answer questions, statements, or comments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent's investigation, study, or recommendation. Public members, Stephen will call your name before you are unmuted to speak. Please restate your name and your address before you begin speaking. Stephen, do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
Good afternoon, board. I do have a couple comments, but I believe they are more suited for the COW, which will follow the special board meeting, so I will save them until then.
The public is reminded that you may submit your comments by email to fboe@flintschools.org to have them read at the next meeting. Thank you. At this time, I seek a motion and a second to go in closed session for the purpose of holding administrator hearings as requested by the administrators.
So
Second.
moved.
It has been motioned and properly seconded that we meet in the closed session. Board members, when I call, it has been motioned and properly seconded that we meet in closed session. Board members, when I call your name, please say yes or no to go into closed session. Vice President Perry?
Yes.
Secretary Green is absent. Treasurer McIntyre?
You're muted, Laura.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil?
Yeah. Yes.
Trustee Walker?
Yes.
Trustee Wright?
Yes.
And myself is a yes for me. Board members, we are now in closed session. You must go to webinar and go into the private Zoom meeting. Invitations were by email from Monica. Public members, we will return here and come out of closed session. Thank you. All right, we're all back. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Board Committee of the Whole meeting to order. The time is 6:31. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Vice President Perry. Ms. Perry.
Sorry. Yes, I was muted.
Okay. Treasurer McIntyre.
Yes.
Assistant Secretary.
Present.
Okay. Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil.
Present.
Board Trustee Walker.
Present.
Board Trustee Walker. He
Present.
froze or he can't. Okay.
Present.
Board Trustee. Okay, there you go. I got you. Okay, Board Trustee Wright. I think you muted, Miss Diana. Okay, I see you saying yeah, though. I got you. And
Okay,
myself,
I'm present.
yes, I'm giving us the yes. Okay. All righty, we are back in session. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. The public is reminded that you may raise your hand to speak. If you have submitted a comment in the chat section, please advise if you wish to speak. Also, anyone who sent an email prior to today's meeting will have that read. Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education, by its bylaws 1370, are not obligated to answer questions, make statements, or comments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Public members, Stephen will call your name before you are unmuted to speak. Please restate your name and your address before you begin to speak. Stephen, do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
Good evening again, board. I do not have any hands raised at this time. I do have a couple from the email.
Proceed.
Let's see here. There we go. First email is from Amy Warren, sent March 17th, 2021. I am a teacher at Brownell. Unfortunately, our sneeze guards were put on our desks without 3M tape. They move and fall on the floor. Many teachers have had to cut and apply pool noodles to help the guards stay in place. Where can we get the 3M tape that comes with the guards that were purchased? Thanks, Amy Warren. And I believe actually the second email is again from Amy Warren. This was sent March 21st. Hello, after Wednesday's board meeting, March 17th, I had a concern because none of the sneeze guards were installed on the desks in my classroom. They were just placed on the desk. Well, the next morning, a CSM employee was in my room to install my guards. Before doing so, he took the time to educate me and shared why they were not affixed to desks with the mounting tape. Easier and more efficient to clean, can be easily moved to different tables. Flexibility to place them on the desk where it's comfortable for each individual student to have proper and adequate workspace. Once he shared this information, I decided it was best for them just to be placed on the desks. I thanked him for sharing his expertise and taking the time to share his knowledge. I just wanted the board to be aware that we are all working together and communicating with each other to provide a safe learning space for our students. Thank you for your continued support for Flint Community Schools as employees, students, and families. We'll do one more check here. No hands raised and no additional questions in the question section.
All righty then. Awesome. The public is reminded that you may submit your comments by email to fboe@flintschools.org to have them read at the next meeting. Thank you. At this time, I now turn the floor over to Trustee Wright for the Human Resources Committee of the Whole meeting.
Thank you, Board President. At this time, I would like to call the Human Resources Committee of the Whole meeting to order. I will call upon Ms. Rubin to present the action items to the board.
Good evening, board.
Good evening again.
You can hear me? Okay, great. I seek a motion and second to move action item 1.6, personnel recommendations, to the regular board meeting on April 21, 2021 for adoption.
We need a motion and
So
a
moved.
second.
So
Support.
moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
All right, Ms.
Um,
McIntyre. Go ahead, Ms. McIntyre.
Yes, I'm a little confused about one of the recommendations. I don't know about a naval science instructor for Southwestern Academy. Is there any information about that? Forgive my ignorance, but I'm not sure of what program that would be associated with, or does that have to do with the ROTC program, or I guess I'm
Yes,
just
ma'am,
sort of,
it does. Our contract with the Navy for our ROTC program states that we have 2 instructors. This is our second instructor. The first one is in place, and now this is our second.
wait, we have 2 instructors for,
We- For our ROTC program, we must have 2 instructors.
okay, so when we were talking about the ROTC program a couple of months ago, we were only talking about 1 instructor. Okay, and so this is the second instructor. So we
Yes.
have 2 instructors at $70,000 for what,
We are
like
only
17
only
students?
responsible for half of that salary.
I understand that, but we've got 2, how many students is this serving again?
I would have to get the naval count, but it is, last count was 54 students.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any further discussion on this issue? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 1.6 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Mrs. McNeil,
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Green is not here. Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and myself, Diana Wright. The motion passes with 5. Oh, did I call board president?
Yes, I'll say yes. That's a pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So the motion passes 5-0. Or,
No, 6, isn't it?
yeah,
6-0.
6-0. I'm sorry, 6-0. Ms. Perry, I
you,
didn't put a
Wright.
check by your name. Mhm. Okay, Ms. Rubin, you may move forward.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 1.7, non-renewal of administrator employment contracts to the regular board meeting April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second that, is there any discussion?
Um,
Mrs.
Just-
McIntosh? Is
yes,
that you? Okay.
yes. Y'all, what is going on here? Just taking under consideration what Mr. Thomas said about here and the issues that the older students have, and just having the one principal, if he's sick or something happens to him, then that puts us in limbo. So I just wanted us to think about that. I just wanted us to consider those things. That's all.
All right, thank you, Mrs. McIntosh. Okay.
Madam
any
President, may I
Yes.
say something?
Go ahead, Ms.
Yeah,
McIntyre.
Yes, thank you. There's 2 Madam Presidents, I guess. The other Madam President, for your, I think it's something that we should consider. But at this point, it's not really that, we're not at that consideration point. This is just about our options again, and the rules and the regulations about, and just keeping our options open in terms of the flexibility for our budget. So I appreciate the concern about the actual individuals, but this isn't really necessarily a personnel matter as much as a structural matter. So I would just like everybody to keep that in mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 1.7 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Mrs. McNeil,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and Diana Wright, yes. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Rubin. Seeing no further action, I declare the Human Resources Committee of the whole meeting adjourned. I will now turn the floor over to Treasurer McIntyre for the Finance Committee of the whole portion of the agenda.
I would like to call the Finance and Operations Committee of the whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Mrs. Dumpre to present action to the board.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 11.3, 2020-2021 revised budget amendment for the Food Service Fund to the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
At this point, we're,
None? Oh,
Can you
go,
hear me?
yes, Ms. McNeil.
Uh-huh. At this point, we just, for this particular action, we're just gonna just move it and have any comments to say on the 21st. Save our comments for the 21st.
No, you can make your comments now.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Ms. McIntyre, go ahead.
Do you have any comments at this time, Ms.
Not
McNeil?
right now. No, not right now.
Any other comments? I'd like to make a comment that I would like for there to be a discussion about this based on some of the things that we talked about in the subcommittee meeting. There were some concerns about the revised budget amendment for the food service. So I will refrain from talking at this time, but I would like to speak more about it later on. Yes, Ms. Wright.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit confused because the committee of the whole is where the discussions really take place. So it's like if nobody wants to talk about whatever it is they need to talk about. So I'm a little confused by that.
Oh, I apologize, Ms. Wright. I'm not trying to obfuscate the issue or confuse anybody. I think that there's some concerns about the structure of the food service and the vendor who's providing it, but it's not like we can actually do something about it now. The time to have done any action would have been previously in the fall, I believe. And so maybe just to kind of have a discussion about how our food service is being handled and moving forward to making future decisions for the next coming year, just so that we're not kind of caught unawares, come next fall. And I don't think that there's necessarily an issue or a problem, but given the declining enrollment, the global pandemic, I think that there are just some things that we need to kind of be flexible and aware of so that we can better serve our scholars and our families and our community. And I think that there's some rooms, not necessarily for improvement, but just given the change, all the things that are happening in our society, that there are some things that could be better tweaked. Ms. Perry?
yeah, in our subcommittee meeting, it was discussed possible changing, looking at the food to make it maybe even a little healthier than what is being served. But there was a big discussion. We could not change anything now because this is too late, because our children wouldn't have any food come September. So
Okay.
I believe the discussion, we said we would end up having discussion later down the line just to, and I believe Mrs. McNeil was wanting to be a part of that, to talk with superintendent and that group of Sodexo people, just to see what they will be providing and what changes and updates could they do to the menu. Now, if I said it wrong, Ms. McNeil, please speak up. But I thought that was what what it was about.
Okay, that, and I get it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, this disparity, and they play a very important role in moving our community forward. If this is the only meal we claim kids eat, this healthier meal, that's some of the things that I want to talk about, because if they the center point of these kids eating this healthy meal, which I don't think is a good meal they got now, but that's exactly what Miss Dara and Miss McIntyre, we are talking about. So we do want to have that open discussion. We got to have this open discussion because our community is at that disparity. We done had 2 crises and we still can't get a good healthy meal from what I see. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. It all makes sense now. Thank you, ladies.
Ms. McIntosh? You're on mute.
I was just wondering, and this may be a question for the administration, because I know at one point we were having some situations where we couldn't get anybody. I think that was Sodexo, that we couldn't get the person that was representing them. We couldn't get in touch with them. We were trying to catch up with them for some things, and they were not available. And we had some scheduled meetings that we were where somebody was expecting to see them at, and there was nobody. Did we get those things resolved?
Ms. McIntyre, I am not aware of what you're speaking of. We have a meeting tomorrow with Sodexo, which is our mid-year review, to talk about our services. So I'm not familiar with what you're referring to.
Okay, it was a discussion that we had a couple months back, I think, and somebody was saying that when there was issues raised about the meals not being healthy, somebody said that I thought, now I could be wrong on this, but I thought they said that they were waiting to get in touch with our food vendor, the representative, and it was a meeting that they were supposed to make that they hadn't made. So that is why some issues were going. But I don't have any problems. I just wanted to find out, had we had those resolved.
So I want to say that Sodexo is on the line. Michael Williams, our Sodexo representative, is he's on the meeting right now.
Good.
Do you have anything specific that you would like for him to address?
Well, like I said, I wasn't aware of it. Somebody else said that they were waiting on the meetings, and that when we brought up the fact that we weren't happy with the meals, that they could be a little healthier. I thought I heard somebody say that they had a meeting and that the person, whoever the representative was, hadn't showed up. I'm not sure because I was not involved in the meeting, but I wanted to know, was anybody on the line that recalled that? If not, maybe I should scratch that. It might not have been them, but I do want to ask him, since he is on the line, about maybe stepping up the menu so that we could get or do they have a healthy menu option? What is our options? Because just because it's late in the game, we still have an obligation to do the best that we can for our students. And if we're all saying that the meals need to be a little healthier and, things of that nature, and a lot of times this is the only meal that our students get, I would like to see those issues addressed. I mean, I don't know if we can wait another year for that, because we've been saying that for quite some time on this board.
Good evening, board members. How are you guys?
Good evening.
Michael Williams. So just to piggyback off of what you said, we can't wait another year. So and just to answer that question, we can fix things immediately. I'm the food service director. We can fix things immediately. What I do want to say is I personally want to know what we're serving that isn't as healthy. Just to go down the guidelines, we do follow the National Food and Lunch Program. Everything we serve to the kids are required and it's those requirements for the National School Lunch Program. We also have two grants, the 10-cent grant and the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Grant, which gives the district additional funds to serve fresh fruits and vegetables from homegrown farms around Michigan. And we've been serving whole fruit, fresh fruit. We've been staying away from a lot of processed meats and things of that. We've also actually switched to plant-based meat products as well, serving. We were serving, at the beginning, we were doing a lot of salads, a lot more fresh subs. And so when that number went from maybe serving 2 to 3 to 5,000 meals a day and shot up immensely to 12 to 15,000 meals a day, we had to switch to more pre-packaged things that were, in less words, pre-packaged, which means that you lose that quality of freshness a little bit, just a little bit, because like I said, it still falls in those requirements. But in order to serve the need, because remember, MDE and USDA raised and lifted their requirements. So now instead of just serving kids in our district, we were able to serve kids under the age, all kids under the age of 18. So once those floodgates open, we went from serving 2 to 3,000 meals a day to almost 12 to 14,000 meals a day. If anyone has any suggestions, we're literally working every day on them to figure out what we can do to make things fresh. We've been doing a pretty good job, which I thought. I haven't heard any concerns. And if you guys have any concerns, that's why I'm on here, right? So I can take it back to my team so we can do exactly what we need to do to put this into fruition. Starting in May, we're going back to serving fresh meals. I'm going to bring the barbecue grill out like I did last year during the pandemic, and we're going to start serving fresh grilled meals like we did. It's just that serving 7 days worth of meals at once for the families, because we found out that worked best for the families, right? Some people don't have transportation. We're trying to limit the amount of exposure that the parents have to actually come out to the community and grab the food. So if we're taking all those factors in account when we're putting these meals together.
Okay, did you say no meat at all? Is everything plant-based? Or?
No, ma'am. So we do have meat, but we integrated some plant-based foods. We partnered with Impossible Burger, and it's actually kind of going over pretty well. So.
Okay, so it's a mix of meat and plant-based meats.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Williams, this is Board Member Mike Neal. A lot of the parents in the community want to address this GMO. Do you address those GMO in serving the food?
So is it possible that we can take down all of your questions? So when we have our meeting tomorrow, we can discuss these things, because we have our meeting set for tomorrow.
Okay, and I can just send you some notes. That would be much better, because there's a lot of discussion that we don't want to tie up the whole night talking about this.
I would appreciate that, Mrs. McNeil, and then we'll ensure that when we have our meeting tomorrow that we can address these concerns.
And I sent it through your email.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. It's nice to have you on here so we can actually talk to you directly. I really appreciate that. But at this point, we're on the agenda item. So I want to just reiterate, is there any further discussion about the revised budget amendment that's been moved and seconded? No further discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 11.3 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Danielle Green. She's absent. President Carol McIntosh?
Yes.
Yes. Assistant Vice Secretary Treasurer Joyce Ellis McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President Perry?
Yes.
Trustee Walker?
Yes.
Trustee Wright?
Yes.
And myself, Laura McIntyre, yes. The motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Okay. So Finance and Committee action item 11.4. I'm turning it over to Ms. Dumpre.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 11.4, authorization to extend FY22 food service management contract agreement to the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Yes.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 11.4 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. Trustee Green is not here. President McIntosh?
Yes.
I'm on phone. You want me to call you back?
Yeah, call me back.
All right, bye.
Secretary Treasurer, Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President Perry?
Yes.
Trustee Walker?
Yes.
Trustee Wright?
Yes.
And myself, Laura McIntyre, yes. The motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Turn it back over to Ms. Dumpre for action item 11.5.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 11.5, authorization to extend fiscal year 2020 school dues subscription to the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 11.5 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. Danielle Green is not here. President McIntosh?
Yes. Roll call vote. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Assistant Treasurer Secretary McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President Perry?
Yes.
Trustee Walker?
Yes.
Trustee Wright?
Yes.
Myself, Laura McIntyre, yes. The motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Thank you, Mrs. Dumpre. Seeing no further action, I declare the Finance and Operations Committee of the whole meeting adjourned. I now turn the floor over to President McIntosh for the Board Committee of the whole portion of the agenda. Time of adjournment is 7:00 p.m.
At this time, I will call upon Superintendent Stewart to present action to the board.
Good evening again, board members. I seek your approval to move action item 21.18, authorization of rapid antigen COVID testing to the regular meeting on April 21st for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Superintendent Stewart, I just have a question about the supply. I looked at 21.18 and the eligibility requirements, and I see that it mentioned the potential possibility for students if parental permission, but I had a question about maybe expanding that access to also parents if the supply allowed for it. just thinking about it on the grounds of just accessibility as it relates to this rapid test. I think it's becoming more rapid or it's becoming more available in community. But if that can eliminate a barrier for a parent, I just wonder if the supply is there, could that eligibility requirement be extended to include parents as well?
Thank you very much, Board Member Walker, for your question. Stephen, can you please unmute Eileen Tomasi? Eileen Tomasi is the health coordinator for the district. And so I would like for her to be able to respond to your question, Board Member Walker.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
These tests are being supplied from MDHHS. They're funneled to our local ISDs and then distributed. So no, at this time, I don't think we can use them for that purpose. They're strictly for students of athletics, students in the building, and staff.
Great, that helps. Is there, so a follow-up question, is there a plan if we come into circumstances where there is excess supply and we feel that the tests aren't being used to potentially expand eligibility?
I can reach out to the state and ask that question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have a question as well, President McIntosh.
Oh, I got my hand
Ms.
up.
Tomasi.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that that's not what they're for, but is there some, it's being prohibited because that's what they're for? Is there some way that we can, as Trustee Walker said, you know, just eliminate some of these barriers, these bureaucratic barriers for parents? I mean, I understand that testing is available all over the place and is better than it used to be, but I mean, it just seems kind of silly that, you know, if you're there dropping off your child, or, you know, if you're there and it's available, why we wouldn't do anything in our power to, you know, to help with this pandemic. And you're saying you can talk to someone in the state. Who is that particular someone that you would be talking to? And we have a communications meeting that meets every week on Thursday mornings where the state is there. Perhaps, you know, I can talk to somebody, but I mean, who would we talk to facilitate this like one-stop process instead of putting up more barriers, like, you know, bringing them down?
Well, the purpose of the antigen test right now is for people that are not fully vaccinated and are asymptomatic. So there's a kind of a screening process. And then it would be who would we get to do these tests? That in itself has been an issue that we were trying to figure out in the district. But you know what? If the state says we can use them for that, we can find a way to do this. We absolutely can find a way to do this. If parents want to step into the building, or it takes 15 minutes, so they would have to stay there. But we could figure out a way to do this.
So what I hear Board Member Walker and Board Member McIntyre stating, wanting to see if there's someone at the state level that we can talk to so that we can get these restrictions, or so that we can see if we can broaden the range, and if so there are restrictions, if so we can get these restrictions lessened. And then what I hear Board Member McIntyre stating, please let me know if I'm stating this correctly, Board Member McIntyre, if so there's someone that you can put pressure on at the state level to kind of help us to remove these barriers for our families, then if we can share that information with you, then you'd be willing to, that's what you would be willing to do. Is that what I hear the two of you stating?
You muted, Laura.
I'm not speaking for Trustee Walker, but I'm not trying to put pressure on the state or MDHS. As far as I know, they're ready and willing to facilitate, you know, as much cooperation as possible. So I'm just trying to connect one side with the other, because this seems to be a need. Yeah, and there is a meeting tomorrow that happens every week where government officials and community leaders come together to brainstorm solutions in our community. And it just seems, you know, I mean, who do we need to talk to? Who do we need to connect with one another?
Yeah, and for me, it's all about eliminating barriers to access. with you. Again, understanding everything that parents and what's going on in our community, the more that we can do in terms of providing a service, I think the better, because again, just understanding schedules. And I mean, I have to go over to another site, but if I can drop my kid off and potentially get tested, it just helps. So if that can be.
Absolutely. So let Ms. Tomasi and I do some more talking, and then we'll get back with the board members.
Also, Chairman McIntyre, could we use that as a platform, as one of our platform at our communication meeting to bring it up with the, I think it's Gary from the state. Do you think we can also bring that conversation to him so he can kind of push the ball a little further and get us some information?
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll work as well.
Sounds good. I'll be back with Mrs. Tomasi, and I will do some more research, and we'll get back with you guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.18 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve.
I
Joyce,
think Ms. Wright had her hand up.
oh, did you, Miss Wright? You muted Miss Wright. Okay.
She was doing this. That's why. Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh, is a yes. So the item passes 6 yes, no no's. Motion passes. Please continue, Superintendent Stewart.
Thank you, Board President. I seek your approval to move action item 21.19, authorization to renew website content management system services, to the regular board meeting on April 21st.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.19 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh. The motion passes. 6 yes, there were no no's. Motion passes.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.20, gifts and donations, to the regular board meeting on April 21st.
So moved.
Oh, I'm not supposed to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I have a question. Superintendent? No, I don't. No. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.20 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh, yes. The vote passed. The motion passes with a 6 yes vote. Continue, Ms. Superintendent Stewart, please.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.21, gifts and donations, to the regular board meeting on April 21st.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 2121 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no for approval. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh. The motion passes with a 6 yes vote. Stewart,
I seek your approval to move action item 21.22 to the regular board meeting for adoption on April 21st.
did I hear somebody say that?
Yeah, I said so moved.
Okay,
Support.
thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.22 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no for approval. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh. It is yes for me, and the motion passes with a 6 yes vote. At this time, I will call the Academics Committee to order. I will now ask Superintendent Jones to present action items to the board.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
All right, board members, please be advised that action item 25.12 is being tabled until the May board meeting. Please cross that item off your agenda.
25.12.
25.12.
Okay.
All right.
Now I seek your approval, or do you want me to wait? I'll wait if you want me to wait.
No, you can go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. Now I seek your approval to move action item 25.10, authorization to purchase approved items from the Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Development Project Grant to the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing there is none, the motion to move, and I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, what action item did you just go to? 25 points?
10.
That's what, okay. Just wanted to make sure I was on the right thing. Seeing none, the motion to move action item 25.10 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce Smith,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh. It is a yes for me. The motion passes with a 6 yes vote. Please continue, Mr. Jones.
All right, I seek your approval to move action item 25.11, authorization to purchase approved items from the amended federal coronavirus relief fund to the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? No discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item number 25.8 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Are you saying 25.11 or 25.8? You said 8.
That was
oh,
a
I'm
typo.
sorry.
Sorry, Miss Carol.
Okay, so I'm on
Okay.
11. Yeah, it is a typo, so I'm supposed to be on 25 point. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McNeil. Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diane Wright,
Yes.
and myself, Carol McIntosh, and that Motion passes with a 6 yes votes. Okay. Okay, please continue, Mr. Jones.
In your packet is the information report 26.6, comparative membership report for February 10th, 2021. We are asking if there's any questions from any board members.
Any questions from the board? And there is no questions? Thank you, Mr. Jones. Let me see.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, before we adjourn, do any board members have any comments? Okay. Our
Yes,
next,
I'd like to, yeah.
go ahead,
Oh.
Ms.
Is this the time to make comments before we adjourn the whole meeting, correct?
Right.
You breaking up, Ms. Laura. We can't.
Oh, apologies. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So I was wondering about the upsurge in coronavirus cases in Michigan and how we're making national and international news. And I've had several community members, parents, scholars themselves express concerns about, you know, just the safety of not just our school system, but also our community as well. And I just wanted to take time to note that and to address that we are vigilant, we are keeping an eye on it. It is very concerning. Props to the superintendent and and other board members for you know, being vigilant and taking defensive and precautionary measures to keep all of us safe. I just wanted to acknowledge that because the numbers are really troubling and alarming, and I just want everyone to stay safe and healthy.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, Ms. Laura, because you gave me thought on something I need to speak on. Is there any other board members that would like to make any comments?
Hey, yes, this is Mike Neal. Can you hear me pretty well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would kind of like to speak to the board, and I don't know if the boards are having the same problem. Some of we have discussed it. However, there's a lot of meeting going on, and the public are asking the board for some information. And because most of the meeting, which I tell the public, and I'm speaking out this public, usually the meetings are between the president and the superintendent. And the superintendent takes the message back to her people, and the president is to bring the message back to the board. Right now, coming up to our next board meeting, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed, even for the finance. We are talking about the property. We're supposed to have an evaluation on this property. There's a lot of questions on that, the appraisal on the property. There's questions on fundings. So we're kind of, as a board, kind of left in the dark. Where are we going with this, and who are we talking to? So to the Madam President, to the superintendent, maybe, or to someone on the board, what is the guideline for the new members when you guys are having meetings that other board members don't have this information? So we don't come in to board meetings not knowing what's what. We want to be prepared for the next board meeting. And so we need to know, how do we get this information? How do we allocate this information so we can work together collectively? Do any other boards feel this way?
Oh, well, to address Ms. McNeil's question first, me and the superintendent just had a meeting with a real estate attorney. So we weren't able to answer questions because we hadn't got the proper information from people who are authority in that area. I'm actually having the real estate attorney come speak with the board on May 12th, and then he will answer all your questions as it pertains to real estate because the superintendent is not fluent in real estate and I am not either. And we are trying to handle this in a professional and orderly manner. We're trying to do it right so we don't mess things up. We're trying to make sure that it's fair to other people. So with that being said, May 12th, we'll speak with our real estate attorney and start setting that up. And
Who is the real estate attorney?
we have Truman, I think Truman on retainer. So we just met with him. Me and the superintendent's last face-to-face was Monday, and we just met with him. And I don't have his name right off the top of my head. Do you remember his name, Superintendent Stewart?
It's Troon Law Firm, which is one of the law firms that the district currently work with. The gentleman's name, his first name is Gordon. His last name is, I'm sorry, it's not a common last name, so it is escaping me right now, but his first name is Gordon.
Okay. But so just so you know, me and the superintendent, we are working on it. It is not an easy task. We also have had a meeting with the Williams firm to discuss these matters. When we spoke with them and the company that they brought before us, they answered some of our questions. And like Attorney Williams said, he is not a real estate attorney, so he was limited in the professional information that he could provide us with, which led us to our next step, which is Truman, which is why we are speaking with him now. And the conversation is really above me and the superintendent's head. That is why we are having them come in on May 12th to speak to you guys directly. And at that, whatever questions you have, you can ask at that time.
Well, I'm gonna ask this question at this time right now, because what has happened is that we are still working on this debt elimination plan. And I think this has been going on, that we were gonna have these reports, that we had people already out there doing appraisal. So we can include some of this stuff in our debt elimination, as well as our Chairperson McIntyre doesn't have a lot of information. So now we're going back that we have never started anything. So we're starting from ground zero. So what impact would that have on your debt elimination plan? And I think
Madam President.
Sorry, Ms. Beer.
Just one second. Go ahead, Ms. Dunpray.
So, Ms. Board Member McNeil, we are still, I am still having conversations with Treasury, and we are getting ready to have a MOU that we will get together that I will bring forth to you all in May to say that they're going to give us funding to get the enrollment studies and facility assessments and program utilizations and building utilizations that we ask for. And that way we can get that started. So it hasn't started yet, and they understand that we need that information in order for us to complete our enhanced deficit elimination plan. So everybody understands that they're intertwined. And so Treasury is patient and is working with us to help us get what we need so that we can make sound decisions.
But thank you, because I just want to make sure, that we don't throw everything in your lap and say you didn't do this and you didn't do that. So I just want to make sure that's out there, where we're at and where we're going. I'm sorry, Ms. Vera keep having her hand up. Sorry, Ms. Vera.
No, I'm
Thank you.
okay. I'm good now.
And also, just to let you guys know, I'm adding a special board meeting before our next meeting so that we can talk to some people from Lansing about some financing that may be available to us. But it is, again, extremely detailed, and I am not familiar with the finance side of things like these gentlemen are. So they will be coming before us next Wednesday to explain some things that we may have questions to, and to help us navigate through the process of trying to get funding and moving forward. Go ahead, Ms. Ray.
I guess I have a concern about the order in which things are being done. Because as a board, we don't, which I guess let me ask a question first. The people that you say that you're having come to the board, are those people that have been recommended to you by administration?
No. Well, some of them have. Like I said, the attorney is on retainer already with the district. So yes, he is. The people that are coming Wednesday, no, they're from, and they work in Lansing with Treasury and those people, lobbyists, and another attorney who I've been speaking with, who have been trying to help me navigate through some of our financial difficulties, and they've given me some awesome information. So since I'm hearing the board saying I'm not, like Ms. McNeil said, she hasn't been given a lot of information because I didn't have anything to give. But they've recently agreed to come in and speak with you guys. And at that point, whatever decisions the board makes, it's up to you guys. But that is the information that I will be sharing, and to let you know what work I've been doing. They'll come in and let you know what's been happening behind the scenes.
I just have a concern about board president going out and bringing people to speak to the board, because the board's job is to govern, not to go out seeking that kind of information. We're supposed to be governing and approving what comes to us from administration. And I think that it is not appropriate for, I just don't think it's an appropriate thing for, I think when people come to speak to the board, they should come because they've been vetted through the administration, not because of a request from the board president. I think that is kind of out of the scope of what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, more than myself have met with these people because I wasn't sure. We are in the red and we are in a financial bind. So as a board member, I didn't think it would be an issue because we're not paying them anything, and anybody can come before the board, to my understanding. So, like I said,
who are these people? Excuse me, but like, who are they? You're saying gentlemen from Lansing. Who are you talking about?
Let me give you the name of the company.
Yes, please.
He is a lobbyist and one is an attorney, and that is what they do. And I have been speaking to them about our financial situation and trying to come up with some solutions. Now, like I said, if the board don't like what they're saying, and I have met with them with some other board members and spoke to board members about this. And so instead of doing it on behind the scenes, but I'm not going to have them come in and I don't even know what they're talking about. But they had some interesting things to say. So I did invite them in, and I didn't see anything in the policy that says I can't do something like that. So I didn't see how that would be out of line.
I'm just confused about where the finance subcommittee falls into this hierarchy. I mean, isn't that what a finance subcommittee is for?
Maybe it is, but they haven't done anything with finances or anything for us. So are we going to knock them for their knowledge that they have and their expertise?
Wait, what do you mean they? Okay, so I'm the the president of the finance and subcommittee, and I'm also the treasurer. So I mean, if this is going on, like if you're having meetings with people, I kind of need to be brought in to this financial information. So
you are being brought in. That's what I'm telling you. I'm going to bring you in Wednesday. Everybody's going to be brought in.
I need to have been brought in a couple of weeks ago before you were making these arrangements and having these meetings. I'm going to defer to Ms. Wright for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, and I am going to, we have as Ms. McIntyre said, we have a finance chair, we have a treasurer, we have a finance, a director of finance. Doing those kinds of things are out of line. And I think that that's going to confuse the issues. We're working with the state, we're working with partners within the city to, work on our finances and come up with plans. And I just feel it's inappropriate to be bringing in other folk who have an agenda, which is to get some of that 99 mil. I'm just gonna call it what it is.
But
as for me, I do not want to speak to those folk because
Well-
we have too many other committees and people in our district who, not having had any input, who you have not gotten input from, unless you do that, I don't want to speak to those folk. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
well, you don't have to speak to them, but when are
We
you?
still don't have their names either. I
Well-
want to know who they are.
Oh, well, that was the point in the meeting Wednesday, so you can get your input, your opinion. But if
Can we
you
know
don't-
who they are though before we, I mean,
Yeah, you can. I was getting ready to tell you, but you know, you guys are steady chiming. You can know who they are. You can vet them. I spoke with them before the 99 million came about. And one thing about it, they are professional and fluent. They don't have to prey on us. I sought them out because I heard they've done some great things for Detroit, Highland Park, Ben Harbor, and other broke districts like ours. So I spoke to them because I heard they do awesome things. Now, if that makes me out of line, I do apologize. I have not signed them up for any monies or obligated us to anything. So how it's out of line because I've spoke with somebody about our situation that everybody knows about is beyond me. Now at this point, if you guys decided to deal with them, I see you, Miss Perry. Now at this point, if we decide to deal with them or whatever, they can work with Miss Donpre, you, whoever else. I don't care. I'm just trying to move the district forward. These people I did not know before before this year becoming the president. So it's nothing personal on the back end for me. I'm just trying to help the community and help the district from now drowning and stop everybody from pimping us out and preying on us, trying to get some finances that are legally there for us if we had the right people to navigate us to those finances. But excuse me, I'm sorry. I'll be more than glad to tell them not to come. Miss Perry, your time.
Yes, I would recommend that you do tell them not to come. Number one, superintendent has not chimed in. So before I continue, superintendent, do you know anything about these people?
Who are
I
they?
do not, I do not know anything about them. I'm sorry.
But
Okay.
but I
Now,
did speak to her prior to inviting them though. But she has not met. Nobody's met with them but me, Miss McNeil, and Mr. Walker because some people and then some others. Somebody wasn't able to make it. Mr. Walker wasn't able to make it, and it was me, Miss McNeil, and somebody else that spoke to them. So I'm not doing this.
I think it was just you and I when you brought them to me, and you said you knew them, and
Mr.
we did talk. Yeah, I just met them, but I don't know nothing about them, their track record, nothing about them. That's why I was just wondering at what point that this should have been before the board. That's all I was saying. I don't know nothing about them. I don't know whether they're a thief or whatever they are. I don't know anything about them. I just spoke with them, kind of look at them to see who they are, but I haven't did any research on their work.
okay,
And
so
Miss,
I can validate them. So don't ask me to validate them. I can't.
I'm not asking. They're saying
No, I
no.
ain't asking it you. I'm just talking to the board.
Right. They're
Yeah.
saying nobody else. I'm hiding them. I've invited Mr. Walker. He was unable to make it because of a work obligation. Miss McNeil has had the opportunity. I was trying to put something together where the superintendent and everybody could meet them. But since we are a board, I was going to have them come talk to everybody at once. But if you don't want them to, like I said, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
I guess before,
I ain't never met them. They not my friends. Like I said, when I became the president and heard about our financial issues, and somebody introduced me, kind of told me what they do. The person works for the #1 lobbying, like I said, works for the #1 lobbying firm in Michigan for 17 years running. So that is what led me to this person. But like I said, if you guys are against getting some help in Lansing, hey, I don't have no problem with telling them, no, we want to set it aside and let them go at their own. And
Can I
I'm sorry,
finish now?
it won't happen no more. Go ahead.
Can I finish now?
Help yourself.
What do you mean help myself? May I
Go
finish
right
now? Thank you.
You will.
I guess this is where the board needs to have communication about everything that's coming forth. We are being kept out of information, and that is not fair. And people are being asked to come. We don't even know what they're coming for, what they're presenting. You have administration sitting on the other side, not knowing what's coming, what they're presenting. This is Vera Perry. I think that should be put on hold once we have our meeting, because number one, we have not met with our superintendent yet about monies coming into this district, about what we are planning on doing with our buildings and all that type of other information. And it's so unfair to be planning so far ahead. We need to sit down as a group and have that type of conversation before we start inviting people in. You know, I'm just going to say, appreciate the work you've done, but at this point, that work was too premature. We need to back this train up and bring everybody, because we are a board of 7 + 1, and our +1 is our superintendent. And so that's how I feel. And I hope the board could support me on that we stop this train right now and we start meeting and understanding and figuring out what is it that we even want to do, because we don't even know. So that's all I have to say. And Mr. Walker has his hand up.
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, I was just going to echo on Ms. McNeil's first comment in terms of what she's hearing from community. And one of the main things that I hear is something that everyone has echoed is, again, everyone that saw the amount of money that's coming into the district. And I know we still, again, Ms. Perry just mentioned it, we still got to have conversations about what our plans are, but that's something that, again, I continue to hear from many spectrums in terms of, again, what is our plan for spending. I always say, again, looking back, people will not just look at how we spent, but look at more so how we invested these dollars. But then also there's conversations around the coordination as there's, dollars, similar dollars coming into the city and county, and what communication is looking like there so we can have maximum impact. So just wanted, again, I know we're still planning to have discussions coming up, but I think that is the main thing, going back to Ms. McNeil's original comment about hearing from the community, that I hear from on a daily basis.
And to follow up with what Ms. Perry said, we are a board of 7 + 1. That's why I was trying to bring them before the board and the administration in a closed meeting, and then you could have got all your questions and asked or whatever, ripped them to shreds if you wanted to. So that was the whole point, I thought. I don't know how I'm supposed to bring anybody to you or anything like that if they can't come before you openly. So I don't know if I got to call you one-on-one on the back line or what. So maybe I better get some training on that, but okay.
I think that is what needs to have happened, possibly called a board meeting and said, this is what I'm looking at. These are some ideas I have. What are your ideas? You want to bring forward,
that's what this meeting was going to be for.
No, this is prior to you even setting up a meeting. This should have been done prior to setting up a meeting. You got to bring us in and bring us up to speed and let us chime in.
Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Perry. I didn't mention the lobbyists that I had heard about to you.
You mentioned it to all of us.
Okay.
But you never told Vera Perry that you were bringing these people in. I never heard that. But you had told us you knew someone. You said that every board member.
So when do I bring this to you? If I spoke to you privately, one-on-one, and then if I'm trying to bring them to a meeting before the board and administration, then what other avenue is it that I was supposed to take that I didn't take? That's what I'm trying to find out. Because it's not like I showed up tonight and sprung this on some people are hearing about it for the first time, but some of y'all done heard about this before.
I'd like to chime in. Yes, I have heard about it, but coming in as a new board member, yes, I have heard about it, but at the same time, I'm thinking that we should have had some type of memo, or I think Laura McIntyre made this up before, that we should have sent some type of memo out to say on this such and such a day that McNeil and I met with these such and such people, and then that would have started our conversation. And that way, it won't be hearsay, word of mouth from one person to the next person, and then the conversation gets confused. But if we follow up with written paperwork, written documents, And what it's a term that I'm looking for, maybe Ms. Vera or Ms. Wright can help me. We need to have where the attorney can draw up a document where the whole board comes together as a whole and get caught up so we can get rid of all of this misinformation so we can know what is the communication going on. My understanding is that when based on your bylaws, superintendent president meet, they discuss things. You guys had a meeting with Dan Kildee. More people out in the public know about the meeting than the board does. But let me finish. So what I'm saying is that maybe, and I don't know if this is a motion, but maybe that, you know, people get tied up in their schedule and stuff. Sometimes it's best when two people go into a meeting and it eliminate confusion. So if two people goes to a meeting, Ms. McIntosh go into a meeting, maybe the big VP goes into that meeting with superintendent. When she's having a meeting, she brings another person into that. These are just suggestions that, and I think that it'll eliminate all of this, what I thought and what I think. And because you got new board members in these positions, then we got a new president in this position. So I just think that going forth now, we need two people in these meetings from each side. And I don't know if that could be a motion or where can we take that to the next agenda?
Oh, from each side, because I definitely had two people in the meeting. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm talking about in all meetings. So when you meet with the president, the superintendent, then there should be somebody with you. When the superintendent meeting with you, there should be somebody. So I think it'll be more effective if we have two people. And that's two witnesses always better than one witness. So if we have two people in these meetings, maybe when you're chairing these meetings, maybe, and I would say the VP, because if the president is not around, I have to go to the VP for a lot of things that I have, because the president probably is at work. But the VP couldn't help me because she doesn't have information what's going on. Am I making myself clear? And that's a decision that the board can make.
We'll make it. Y'all the board. Feel free. Ms. Wright?
Well, I just want to go back to a point that I made earlier, and that is that our role is to govern, not operate the district. And, you know, in all the years I've been on the board, you know, we approve recommendations from administration. It is not our job to go out seeking lobbyists and all that stuff, because I thought we already had a lobbyist anyway. What's his name, Brown?
His contract's up in June. Yeah, we do.
Okay, so, but my thing is, because we have so many things on the table already. You know, we've got the deficit, the deficit elimination plan. We've got the money. We have to figure out what to do with the stimulus money. We have to, you know, keep our eye on the ACLU situation. We have to keep our eyes on the COVID situation. And I just want us to allow administration to sort of direct the flow, because, you know, because they kind of have an idea of all the things they have to do, even those things related to the improvement of buildings and all of that. Let's let them direct the flow of and the plan, which is what I'm thinking they're going to do when they meet with us regarding the strategic plan. So I think we need to let them do what they're being, I know they're not going to like this, but highly paid to do. And then we just give our opinions and suggestions and things that are in line with what our role is. So, because I think when we kind of step out, and I had to learn this the hard way, when we step out, that's when the problems occur. Because who's running the show? Is it the board or the administration? That's always the question. It's always because somebody's over in somebody else's lane. So I just think we need to be mindful of that moving forward.
I've always been mindful of that. Like I said, if you can show me some policy stating that I shouldn't talk to anybody about finance, I'll be more than happy to step back. And I haven't anything outside of trying to help us stay afloat. But like I said, we'll step back. I will step
The
back.
operative word I said was we need to be mindful. I didn't, I'm not trying to, we, and I'm talking me and everybody, we, because we're a group of 7
Right, we are.
plus one.
I wish we could have came up with this before we went to get food. I'm sorry for my ambition.
Oh, President McIntosh, if I may.
You may.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you for being proactive and, trying to come up with solutions, because it's, as you said, we're in a very tricky time. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of things that no board has ever had to deal with, ever. And I think that we're well on our way to being a good working team. This is just a hiccup. I'm not in my feelings or anything about anything that's happened. I think that we just need to kind of go, oh, wait a minute, this could be better done so that we all are on the same page, or that we have better communication and understanding amongst each other. And to another trustee's point, we do kind of need to stay in our lane, but this is an unprecedented time, and we're under a budget deficit elimination plan, a global pandemic. So the lanes are kind of shifting and blurred too. And just as we don't want to micromanage things, we also don't want to be macro-managed by administration. We do have our role and we do have our place, and it's at a pivotal juncture in time in a historical moment for the Flint Community Schools, especially now that we have this influx of funds that is going to be bringing out vultures and people who are going to be very much who weren't interested before and are now interested in what our district is doing. So maybe, and I've recommended this like in the beginning of my term, or like in the first couple of meetings, that maybe we could have like a report about what is, what these meetings are that are being done. I mean, I know that there are like ad hoc meetings, there are meetings that don't fall under the Open Meetings Act and FOIA. Maybe if we could just kind of communicate amongst ourselves with, who's meeting with whom and what we're doing, so we're not all reinventing the wheel, and we're not, at cross purposes, but that we're all acting as a team of 7+1. So, and one thing I would like to reemphasize is that we do need the appraisals of the buildings. And Ms. Dumpre said that the Treasury is being very, very patient. Well, I don't see it that way. As far as I'm concerned, we're being patient with the Treasury. And thank you very much, but we've had this budget deficit elimination plan that's been imposed on us, I think, under artificial circumstances. Everyone knows my position on this. I don't see us as a broke district. I see us as a district that was put into an untenable position for a variety of reasons to gain control of our school district. So I don't accept that definition of us as a broke district. And we certainly aren't broke anymore. And we have a little bit more autonomy because of the funding that we're getting. And we're perfectly capable of budgeting for ourselves, making decisions for ourselves, and coming together as a board, as an administration, and as a school district. So I don't want anyone to make any mistakes about, or to mistake our abilities as a unit. So we need those appraisals. We need the information. The entire board needs the information, and the entire board needs to move forward. And I'm tired of Harvard groups coming in from the outside and trying to, prey on the resources, the few remaining resources that we have that are tangible. I mean, because for me, the resources that we have that are the most valuable are our citizens, are our families, are our scholars, are our city, and the property that we have is just a reflection of that, right? So I'm not about to give that away to anybody, for restoration purposes, for historical purposes. We are Flint. we're Flint Community Schools. We're going to stay Flint Community Schools, and you know, that's all there is to it. I'm sorry, I'm just going on and on and on, but let's pull this let's pull this ship up and start steering it together.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Perry.
Put this to my age because I have forgotten, but years ago, the board stepped out. I forgot what it was about. I don't even remember what was going on. And we got ahead of administration. And we went on and did our little thing, and then it blew up. And then people wanted to accuse administration. Now, this has been a long time ago before any of you got on the board. And administration said, well, that wasn't our call. You all did that. You didn't even wait for us to bring the recommendation. And we had to eat that mess. That's why I'm saying we have to have a constant communication, information coming to us. And if necessary, we have to get together as a board and throw everything on the doggone table so everybody knows what's going on. Because right now, I swear, if somebody asks me a question, I can only say, I don't know, because it was never shared with me by my board president. And because I'm not going to blame administration, because administration tells her executive cabinet and her staff, we have a lack of communication coming from our board president, and we must have more information. Thank you.
Well, I don't have any information to give, and today I tried to give you some information, and everybody acting like I'm trying to do something sneaky or trying to cipher some dollars. So this is what I'm gonna do. You're right, I'm gonna back up off of it, and I was gonna also work with the real estate attorney to try to sell our properties. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let the administration do that, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm yay, yay, yay. And when them little dollars dwindle down, and we back against the ropes, hey, that's just what it's gonna be. Excuse me, like I said, I'm done being proactive, and I have not met with Dan Kilby or nobody else like that. I met with we've done some group organizational meetings, which a lot of people were invited to, not just me. So I'm not being privy to any meetings with big wigs that I'm not sharing with the board. So let me get that straight. When I meet with somebody, I do speak to at least one board member about it. And the only person I've really been meeting with is the superintendent. Now, the whole board can come to that meeting if they like. And like I said, excuse me for trying to get some things done for this district. It'll never happen again.
So I have a question as a new board member. So if you're saying that you met with one board member, which you do talks to me a lot, is that like speaking to the whole board, or, you know, when you're speaking to me with that, because I don't share much because I don't know where to go with the information. Are you saying that if you speak to one board member, that's enough? Is that's what we're saying? That
No,
no,
because a lot of things that I've spoken to you about, I'll text Mr. Adrian about, like the lobbyist situation, and ask him what he thinks about that, because he's familiar with that type of thing. I've also spoke to it with Miss Perry, just like she told you, I mentioned it. So if I mention it to you and I'm trying to put it together and I'm bringing this person before the board for you to critique it or go over it, I don't know what else I can do. What, y'all want a long love letter? I spoke to this person, but what I'm gonna do is, because like I said, at this point, I know I've spoke to superintendent about him, Mr. Walker about him, Miss Perry about him, and Miss McNeil about him. So at this point, if that's not enough transparency, because I ain't got nothing going on. Like you said, I work from 6 in the morning to 3:30. So I ain't got a whole lot of movement going on. And what I get, I'm getting from Monica now. Monica is sharing it with me. And when I do have something that Monica is not sharing it, I make sure I share it with somebody. Now, I hadn't had nothing concrete to bring to the board till now. And I brought it, and y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. So, hey.
But I think if we had a paper trail, some information about This just me speaking, because I am a paper trail person. We don't have no information about, we hear that they good, but we don't know that they good. So I think that, in the future, maybe if Ms. McIntyre, we should have just put together a document who these people are, what they are, and what everybody could look at them and make a decision. And I think that would have
Right.
been the best way.
And
That's just my
President
opinion.
McIntosh, I mean, with all due respect, I mean, you just left out 3 board members. So, I mean, it's like, what more do you want? It's kind of like, well, I would like to be included in those discussions as well. And especially as the president of the finance committee, I think that, like, I'm especially somebody that you should talk to about finance and budget and real estate things.
That's why I asked him, Ms. Laura, so you guys can vet him and ask him whatever you like. That was the whole point, bringing him openly before the board. That was the point in this meeting that I was speaking to you guys about. Now,
I know, but I mean, how about some of the unopened meetings or the unopened conversations that you've had with individuals? Like, pick up the phone, let's talk,
No, I'm not doing any social just on the phone kicking it. I bring it to the meeting, bring it openly, brought several board members in. One board member said bring at least one more person. So now I'm supposed to call 7 people. Hey, I'm thinking about that. And it's just a thought. This is really just not coming solid now, and I'm bringing it to y'all. It takes time to get details together. So like I said, I'm not doing no more research on my own, none of that. And I'll bring it, whatever, let the administration bring it to the board, and I'm gonna just sit back and chill. Because like I said, I've spoken to several board members and them and superintendent about it. And I think maybe I've spoken to Mr. Jones about him possibly, but I'm not sure about that. So it ain't like it's been a secret. But like I said, and nobody can show me in policy where anything wrong, but I'm gonna step back anyway, and then I'm gonna keep doing it how it's been done. I'll do it like everybody else say keep doing it.
I just wanted to be clear that nothing was talked to me about. It was just, I know I've been turned on to a person that's a lobbyist, and I might be calling, I plan to call that person. That's the only conversation that was had with Vera Perry. I was not privy to anything else. I want the board to understand, because I don't believe in keeping things from the board. So that's where
I don't either. That's why I was inviting them in Wednesday.
Well, President McIntosh, I just feel like this conversation is going a little south, because I don't think, at least I'm not accusing you of not being transparent or of hiding things. Like, as far as I know, we're good, and I'm not asking you to pick up the phone and kick it with me and have a conversation. What I'm trying to do is look at the situation and just try to make it better so that our communication is clear. And I know it may feel like a pile up on you, but that's not my intent, certainly. And I'm not, like I said, I'm very appreciative of everything that you're doing, and I don't want you to feel this shouldn't be personal. This isn't about you. This is about communications with board members. So I don't know what to do to kind of diffuse the situation so that you don't feel like that all your time has been wasted, because I do appreciate all the work that you've done and all the time that you've put into it. And I'm just making, I guess, like constructive comments about how to better facilitate communication between board members. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, it kind of hinders you a little bit too when you do call board members with issues and want their expertise, tell you, figure it out. You the president, read your stuff, do this, but then in the next voice, they're saying, I haven't heard anything, you didn't call me, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I'm not going to take it personal. I am new at this, so I might be out of order, and I'm going to back this train all the way up. And you guys will not have that problem out of me anymore. Thank you.
Board president was talking about me, and I'm not going to go into all the information, but that was a stone thrown at my direction, and I just want everybody to know. But there's some things that can back up why I said you're the president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just to let it be clear, you don't have to say some board member, say that person's name. Her name is Vera Juliet Perry. Thank you.
If you want to say her name, you say it. I say it how I want to say it. And I said it how I meant it. And I said what happened. And I wasn't going to make it personal. But when you call a board member for information and they say stuff like that to you, and then in the very next meeting, they're telling you how you should come to them, that kind of make it hard because you don't know if you come to them today or if you shouldn't. So that's where I'm at with that since you put it out there. But I am done with that. Like I said, I'm not going to take it personal, and I'm just not going to do this anymore. I've learned my lesson.
Point of information. I think that we're going too far on a personal attack. And the whole comment was about just getting equal access to information for all board members. It wasn't a personal attack. It wasn't accuse anybody. And we know that if she had to put two or three members together, then we would have created a cow. So she was using her expertise. It's just that we all are learning and we got a lot of work to do. And our first priority is it's like playing football. We got to get to the first yard, and that is getting these appraisals done. I think we have plenty of time to address this other issue because right now your board is in the dark right about now. And I can say that because we're all looking for information. So there must be a way where the attorney can come in and bring the boards together where we can put all hands on deck without violating the public act, the COW. So if we could come together and get with the attorney, and it's a statement, and Vera might know what this, Carol or somebody might know what this statement that I'm looking for. He can draw up a statement where the board can come together and will not violate the Open Meeting Acts. So that's what I make a motion to do, so we don't sit up and start antagonizing each other, because we are educators and we are producing scholars, and scholar knows how to get things done without being offensive to each other. Because I'm a scholar. I can put everything underneath my feet and keep moving. So under that note, I would like to make a motion that we have the attorney to draw up the document and bring our board members together so we can find out exactly what it is that we're looking for.
Thank you, Ms.
I believe what Mrs. McNeil is asking for, a board president can, with input from her board, we could be asking questions and our board attorney can give us an opinion on some of these items, like the assessment of the buildings and that type of information. And what he could do, he would do a, I talk too much, give us an opinion on what is going on where we can be in there, not making decisions, but we can be in there getting the information that we need. So that's what she's doing. That's what she's asking. I'm sorry. And I will second her motion.
Discussion? Okay, our next regular board meeting will be held.
No, we have a motion on the point of order. There's a motion on the floor.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, what's the motion? I'm sorry, ma'am, I missed it.
The motion was made and it was second. Ms. McNeil, please repeat your motion.
I made a motion that we bring the attorney in to call all the board members together to discuss some of these items that we have that need to be addressed and bring the board members together to discuss some of the information that we need.
And I had seconded.
What attorney is this? Is this the Williams firm?
The attorney that the board members use, that you work with.
Okay, the motion has been moved and properly seconded. I guess we should take a roll call vote to bring in the attorneys. As I call your name, vote yes or no to approve.
There needs to be a discussion first.
We just had, well, discussion. Go ahead, discussion.
After the, yeah.
Is there any discussion?
I do. I just have and maybe we can do this before the attorney comes in, but specify the things that we're looking for. That way, again, we're not wasting time and we have a little bit more order to the meeting. So if we can just define that before we get to the attorney, I think that would be great. But that's my only point.
Good idea.
Well, it was somebody else's motion, so they probably should clarify.
Yes, that's fine. I agree with Mr. Walker.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, at this time, we'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wright,
You're on mute, Ms. Wright.
and it is a yes for me. The vote passes 6-0 to speak to the attorney at a meeting. Williams firm, who is also going to come, who is getting on the schedule to come in and speak with us about the about our litigations. So I guess maybe at that time we can get those things straightened out. Is there any further? Let me see. Before we adjourn, do any board members have any other comments?
Board President, if board members do not have a comment, I just have one quick thing to add, to say if I can, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So, board members, I just want you to be aware that on tomorrow, a letter will be going out to staff. I also send you a copy of the letter. This week, we have been working with administrators. We shared this information with the teachers union. State testing starts on Monday, and state testing runs through June 4th. And we have to offer any scholar who would like the option to come into the building face-to-face and take their test, we have to allow them the option to do so. If a scholar or a family says, no, I don't want, to come in and take the test, they're not penalized for it. But for any scholar who wants the option to go into the building and take their state assessment, we have to allow them the option to do so. And so staff have been working together this week to figure out a testing schedule for all of our scholars for the time period of April 19th through June 4th. But what I wanted to share with you was on Monday, starting Monday, our staff will be going to remote work. Unless you have to do business that you cannot do remotely. So what do I mean? Ms. Perry, her kids are taking the state assessment the week of May 1st. So Ms. Perry would have to go into the building if so she has any scholars that want to come in and do face-to-face testing. Okay. We also have the one thing that I stressed to the union and Mr. Jones stressed to the building leaders is that the district is still open. The district is still open, school buildings are still open. We are restricting our footprint, but we have to make sure that the work of the district is not hindered, that it continues. And so what we're currently doing is each office in centralized enrollment, each office in the administration building will have one person who will be present in their office so that their office is open to answer any questions from staff members or from the public. Our school buildings will also have to remain open just in case they have any questions, concerns from any of our parents or any of our community members. And they will be open for people to schedule appointments if so they need to. as well as to be able to answer questions. So someone will be there manning the buildings and manning the offices within within the central administration building. But I just wanted you guys to know that that letter will be going out, and that will be effective Monday, that will be starting Monday, April 19th for remote work. If so, you're able to do your work remotely. And that will be in place until we make a decision about if and when scholars are returning to school. So I just wanted to share that with you, just in case you received any questions or concerns for staff members. That is what is happening this week, and that will start effective Monday.
Oh,
Board President,
yes, Mr. Walker.
there is a great thing that all of you should know about Pierce and Brownell.
Yes, sir.
Capturing Kids' Hearts, they pick a couple of schools a year for their national showcase schools. And you need to know today that Brownell and Pierce have become Capturing Kids' Hearts national showcase schools for relational capacity in their classrooms and with their staff and in their buildings. I would like to salute Principal Bias and salute Dr. Grace for a job well done with their team, their staff, the teachers and the parapros and the support staff, and most definitely the scholars for becoming showcase schools nationally for Flint Community Schools. Come on, give them a hand, everybody. Give them a hand. Give them a hand. I wanted to acknowledge them. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yes, Mr. Walker.
Superintendent Stewart, I just had a quick follow-up question, and I hate to take us back up to the agenda, but it's in regards to the rapid antigen COVID testing. So with our students and staff now being remote, will that service still be able to be provided at the schools if someone wanted to come up and have that testing done?
Board Member Walker, I'm going to defer to our health coordinator, Mrs. Tomasi. Mrs. Tomasi, can you unmute yourself? And if you're able, can you respond to that? If not, we can get back with Board Member Walker.
Yes, we will still provide those to anyone that is in the building and wants to be tested. We will continue to provide that.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments? Okay, our next board meeting will be held on Wednesday, April 21st, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Seeing no further actions, I declare the board meeting committee of the whole meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi, everybody.